Hello, everyone, and welcome to Transfer Spotlights, our video series highlighting the people, programs, and everything else that makes UMass great, with a specific focus on need-to-know information for transfer students. Today, we will be discussing the Center for Women and Community with Jazz Dautruche. Jazz, thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much for having us.
The first thing, just to get started, I was wondering if you could give us a general overview of what the Center for Women and Community, what you do there, and the opportunities and services that are offered through the center.
Absolutely. So my role at CWC, I'm the senior curriculum developer and community educator. Well, what does that mean? So I coordinate and facilitate violence prevention workshops and trainings for the campus and community. So I'll go into classes to do a workshop on consent or healthy relationships, or train staff from different groups, or I work with an amazing team in community education to develop online and virtual education and outreach. So a lot of different hats, but really focused in the education world, which is why I'm here to tell you all a little bit about our services. And so CWC is an agency that serves, located on campus, serves UMass, the 5 colleges, and actually the entire Hampshire County. And we have a lot of different services. And so I'll go over some of the categories, which include leadership and education, referrals to different support services, whether on campus or in the community. We offer counseling and advocacy, as well as support groups, and then specialized services for people who've experienced sexual and relationship violence, like a free 24-hour hotline. That's kind of like the brief overview of our services, which all continue to be offered remotely during the pandemic. And whether students are on campus or taking classes remotely, they can access all of our services. They're available to people of all backgrounds, all genders, and are free and confidential. So it's a great opportunity to connect with us in lots of different ways.
That sounds fantastic. And I have a lot of follow-up questions. Can you talk a little bit about the general counseling and the support groups and that kind of aspect of the center?
Absolutely. So with general counseling, again, it's free and empowerment based. For example, someone might get support if they're having a hard time adjusting to campus, or moving to this area, or feeling anxious or having different concerns. They can get individual counseling. And then we also have support groups, which are on a range of different topics. So we have support groups about COVID and the way that it's affected our lives. People can talk it out and get help overcoming some of the challenges. We have support groups about skills and tools to help managing emotions or what's going on in your life, like meditation. And also specific groups, for example, first-gen students, or the LGBTQI community, or students of color, or support groups for about art activities for survivors of violence. So a lot of range of different support groups and ways that people can get support, and we really try to adjust depending on what people's needs are. So if we get a lot of calls from transfer students looking for support and wanting to come together, we might offer a support group on that specific topic as well.
And that's really going to be for our students really critical. A lot of our transfer students were working with community colleges, and a lot of those students have those services that they're getting at their community college, and it's good to know that that continues here, or that's possible here.
Of course.
Another thing that you had mentioned before, I'm interested to hear about, is the hotline. You kind of talked about that briefly. Would you mind going into a little bit more detail about that?
Of course. So our 24/7 free confidential hotline is available to people who've experienced sexual and relationship violence, as well as their family, the friends, and larger community that's impacted. And so it doesn't need to be an emergency to call the hotline, but we do offer crisis intervention and safety planning if it is. But someone might call the hotline because maybe they're worried about a friend's unhealthy relationship, or their partner's being abusive, or maybe they've had a past experience with violence, and one day maybe feelings or memories or emotions coming up. They can call the hotline to get support from a counselor. And so we kind of have that hotline that you can call, again, anytime, day or night. And then we also offer specialized support around sexual relationship violence, such as if someone's going to the hospital after experiencing sexual violence, we have advocates that can support them in navigating the process. If someone wants to get a restraining order, is going through the court process around sexual relationship violence, we can also offer support to folks. which then includes if you connect with any of our services, call the hotline. You also have the option of getting connected with ongoing individual counseling or advocacy around these topics.
That's, again, it continues to be really fantastic things to hear about. I mean, I generally know this stuff, being a part of the university, but it's really helpful to hear all the specific things that you do. I was wondering if you could talk about a really interesting and important aspect of the center, the Women of Color Leadership Network. Wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Of course. So CBC is the home of WCLN, which is the Women of Color Leadership Network, that offers programming for and about women and non-binary people of color. So that includes mentorship, events, programs. Examples are like weekly social hours, programs and panels about social justice or intersectionality, and then like skill building and leadership opportunities like public speaking. So lots of different ways to connect and get information. And again, we have a lot of different support services. So don't feel like you have to hold all this information. You can always go to our website, www.umass.edu/CWC. And we have all this different information, a little bit more about kind of what we do, what we can offer. Or someone can always just call our main line too and say, hey, here's what's going on. We can figure out if one of our services might be helpful, or connect someone to other resources in the area that might be helpful for them.
Fantastic. And I think the last one and if there's more, you can always let me know. But the last one that I really wanted to ask about was the props program. If you could talk a little bit more about that.
Sure, Kevin. So PROP stands for Presenting Real, Original, Powerful Stories. And it's a program where you can tell your story in a video showcase. So it's kind of like the UMass version of TED Talks. And so your story could be about research. It could be about new perspectives. It could be about making an impact on your community or experiences that shaped who you are today. Anything that really helps to inspire others. And so you might talk about your experience as a transfer student or a non-traditional student and what is it like? Not many people really understand the different things that you have to navigate and the shifts and the changes. And so we want to be able to highlight that experience and have more people understand. It could be about a time that you helped a person, a friend, or a group of people who are in need, or maybe even just building relationships from people different than yourselves and really kind of talking through what that process looked like. And so in the program, selected students get to attend specialized clinics on their writing and public speaking, to connect with other professionals and students and really kind of just grow their skills and do, draft after draft, so that they're able to kind of move forward with this video showcase that they'll have to take with them at the end, right? And it's going to be available online. And so they'll be able to share it and show people kind of, one, their story, and two, how they're able to present their ideas in this new creative way.
That's, I think I've said this after everything you said, but that's really exciting to hear about. And I did see some of the videos, but I'm gonna have to go through all of them because that's really fantastic. So I think it's pretty clear how much value there is in the Center for Women Community. But I was wondering if you had any perspectives additionally on why transfer students specifically should consider participating with the center. And then if you could go a little bit into, you've already done it a little bit, but into some ways that students can get involved or access the services.
Absolutely. So one, welcome to the UMass campus, our community. I know sometimes it can be hard kind of find your place and make connections with such a big campus, and especially with everything that's going on with things being remotely. And so we're hoping that you can find different ways to connect and take advantage of the different opportunities. So for a lot of the services that we offer, we have an amazing group of volunteers and interns who come together to do this work. So for example, working on the CWC hotline and providing that counseling, or helping to develop education and programs. We really want to create opportunities where different types of people are coming together to engage in this work. And so a lot of students who do work with us in internships and volunteers will say, they've made friends and connections with people that they maybe never would have met before, from different departments and different areas and community members and professionals. And so we're really grateful to have the opportunity and really want transfer students to be able to come so they can, again, share their experiences and get the supports that might be helpful. That again,
I feel like I'm repeating myself, but
it's hard, right?
That's a really cool program, and it's really great to hear about all that. The last thing, and just that I have to ask about is, and I've been asking this in all the videos we've done so far, is it could be related to the work that you're doing in the center or just generally from your experience. Is there anything you would want transfer students to know as they make their transition to UMass, even if it's not connected to the Center for Women and Community?
Absolutely. Again, I would say, as much as it can be difficult with everything going on, try to take advantage of the opportunities that's available and make the most of your college experience. Can you just give our main line a call and talk about what's going on, how you're doing? We can tell you a little bit more about kind of what we do and what might be helpful, or take a look at our website and kind of see what's available. And so again, our campus has so many different resources. You can connect with people on social media and just kind of get constant updates on things that are happening, or tricks or tidbits about education. And so just finding one way that you can connect just to get started might open some doors that you never expected. So hopefully you can give yourself that opportunity.
That's fantastic. And we'll include some of those, or as many of those links as possible, in the description. So look below if you're interested in connecting. And yeah, thank you so much, Jazz, for joining us today. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Kevin. So glad to be here.
Oh.